Good evening. You are listening to Studio 7 from the Voice of America on Wednesday, October 6th, 2021. And this is Livetalk Diaspora Forum. I'm Jonga Kandemiri.
And I'm Chris Gande.
We would like to inform you, our listeners, that because of the coronavirus pandemic, we are not able to give you our usual show, and you will not be able to call in since we are broadcasting from our homes.
Thank you for joining us. You are listening to Studio 7 Live Talk. This evening, we are discussing about COVID-19, the decline in deaths and new cases, and the vaccination drive.
We are also going to discuss about the MDC Alliance coming up with a diaspora department, the Diaspora Affairs and Mobilization, headed by Clifford Tlachuayo. This is coming at a time the government is crafting the Zimbabwe diaspora policy that aims to harness social and economic contributions of locals living abroad, diaspora voting, and dual citizenship.
But first, the health ministry reported yesterday that 2 people died from COVID-19, while 130 new cases were recorded countrywide. As of yesterday, Zimbabwe had 131,335 confirmed cases, including 124,113 recoveries and 4,629 deaths. To date, a total of 3,128,897 people have been vaccinated against COVID-19.
Although there is a decline in new cases and deaths, health experts are worried by complacence and vaccination apathy as fewer and fewer people seem to be observing the World Health Organization regulations and also willing to take up vaccines.
Okay, let's talk. We are going to be joined as usual by our guests who are going to help us unpack these issues.
Ongo vadiwa vateereri nevatariri, nhasi muchirongwa chedu chatinotarisa zviri kusangana nevana vezimbabwe vari kunze kwenyika, tiri kutarisa nenyaya yeCovid-19, denda reCovid-19. Tinoona kuti nezuro vanhu vakashaya vanhu vaviri chete, vamwe vanoita 130 kana kuti zana nemakumi matatu 130 vakawanikwa vaine COVID-19. Kushaya kwakaita vanhu vaviri nezuro kwakasvitsa uwandu hwevanhu vafa neCovid-19 pazviuru zvina nemazana matanhatu nemakumi maviri nevapfumbamwe 4,629. Kunyangwe pari kuonekwa kuti uwandu hwevanhu vari kubatwa neCovid-19 kana kushaya neCovid-19 huri kuderera, nyanzvi dzeutano dziri kushushikana nenyaya yekushomekawo kwevanhu vari kuenda kunobayiwa nhomba yekudzivirira COVID-19. Tichitarisa tinoona kuti nezuro vanhu vakaenda kunobayiwa nhomba vanhu vashoma shoma, tichienzanisa nemazuva apera ndofunga kwakaenda vanhu vakanobayiwa nhomba yekutanga vaiita zviuru 10 chete 11,000, vainobayiwa nhomba yepiri vakaita 20,000 kana kuti zviuru 20. Uwandu huri kunzi nevamwe aiwa dai hwatisimukei kuitira nyaya yekudzivirira COVID-19. Hurumende iri kutarisa kuti inge yabaya vanhu 10 million panosvika kupera kwegore. Saka kuti zvirongwa izvo zvinge zvichibudirira, vanhu vanofanira kunge vachienda kunobayiwa. Tichabatawo nyaya yebato reMDC Alliance rinotungamirwa naVanelson Chamisa. Takaona svondo rapera vachizivisa nezvebazi idzva rinonzi reDiaspora Affairs and Mobilization, riri kutungamirwa navaClifford Tlachuayo, richinzi rinenge riri muhofisi yemutungamiri webato, in the office of the president. Vari kuti zvakanangana nekunge tichibatsira vana veZimbabwe vari kunze kwenyika, zvizvarwa zveZimbabwe zviri kunze kwenyika. Ndo nyaya yatichakurukura iyoyo. Panguva imwe chete hurumende iri kuita inonzi Zimbabwe Diaspora Policy, yakananganawo nekunge ichibata nyanzvi dzese dzemuZimbabwe dziri kunze kwenyika, dzingava munyaya dzemabhizimusi, kutanga mabhizimusi, nyaya dzehupfumi, zvizvarwa zvese zveZimbabwe zvinenge zvichibatsirwa. Nonziwo urongwa ihwo hwakananganawo zvakare nekupa mukana kuvana veZimbabwe vari kunze kwenyika kuti vange vachikwanisa kuvhota vari munyika dzavagere, pamwe chete neinonzi dual citizenship, kuti vange vari zvizvarwa zvenyika mbiri. Ndo nyaya dzatichakurukura. Chris.
Yebo Jonga, lingalijani lapho likhona Zulu kaNdaba. Siyadibana njalo kuhlelo lwethu Live Talk Diaspora Forum. Lamhlanje ke siphethe indaba ezimbili, emqoka ke indaba ye-diaspora esikhangela khona lapha ukuthi siqala nje sixoxe ngendaba ye-COVID-19 okuthiwa khona amanani asesehla kakhulukazi. Sikhuluma nje kuthange bekungela ngitsho lo yedwa obulewe yi-COVID-19 futhi izolo kulababili nje kuphela ababulewe yi-COVID-19. Nxa sikhangela njalo labathelelwe igciwane izolo babe yi-130 kuphela. Siyazi ukubana kunsukwane ezedluleyo bese befika bona 1,000 ngelanga, kodwa-ke hayi kukhanya kuyathembisa kuyehla. Lanxa nje abantu abahlatshwayo inani labo selisiba phansi kakhulu, abantu abahlatshwa-ke ijekiseni ye-COVID-19 inani lakhona liyehla, kodwa-ke hayi asazi ukuthi-ke abantu hlatshwa yini ngokuya kwesikhathi. Njengoba ngitshilo mina ukubana sile ndaba ezimbili esiziphetheyo, elinye-ke ludaba lwebandla le-MDC Alliance ethi yona isisungule ugatsha oluzabona-ke ngokwenzakala phandle kwelizwe okuthiwa khona i-diaspora. Yikho lapho ugatsha lwakhona lukhokhelwa-ke ngumnumzana Clifford Hlatshwayo, nguye-ke oziphetheyo. Lathi ngapha ku-diaspora phandle kwelizwe siyabe sikhangela ukuthi kwenzakalani, asazi nje ngoba-ke silabavela kubandla sizababuza bona ukuthi ngapha ephandle kwelizwe e-diaspora bakhona yini abakhethiweyo ukumela ibandla kudaba lona lolo. Jonga
hongu wadiwa vateereri, ndo nyaya mbiri dzatiri kuti tikurukure pari zvino. Iye zvino tiri kumirira vadare vedu kuti vange vachipinda. Tiri kutarisira vaRegis Vusango vebato rezanu PF vari kuCanada pamwe chete navatawanda Dzokora vebato reMDC Alliance mudunhu reNorth America. Regai tiona kuti tinokwanisa here kunge vachipinda muchirongwa tichikurukura. Ndizvozvo tavana vadzokora, asi vadzokora chiso hachisi kuoneka zvakanaka, zvimwe chete navaVusango zviso zviri kure. Tinogamuchirai muchirongwa chedu. We welcome you to our show. Maybe we can start by looking at the decline in numbers or COVID-19 new cases. Mr. Dzokora, what's your take on that?
Tinotenda vajonga, tinotenda mukoma Chris, tinotenda mhuri yeZimbabwe yakateerera. Tinozvitambira zvakanaka kana vanhu vasiri kurwara, vanhu vasiri kufa, isu sevana vemusangano wevanhu tinobva tatofara, nekuti ndo zvatanga tichitaura nguva yese kuti hatidi kuti vana veZimbabwe vafe pavanenge vasingafanirwa kunge vachifa. Saka kana vanhu vari kuteerera zviri kukurudzirwa nevakuru vese, naivo vari muhurumende nana President Chamisa nevamwe vese veMDC kuti ngatiitei social distancing, ngatigezei maoko, ngandei tinobayiwa nhomba, zvinenge zvichireva kuti zvinhu zviri kufamba. Ndo zvatinenge tichitarisira izvozvo kuti zviitike, kwete kuti vanhu vangopera nezvinhu zvinokwanisa kudzorereka kana kugadzirisika.
Ndokumbira kuti mungodzokorera nechirungu vadzokora.
Yes, we appreciate the fact that the numbers are going down, and we pray to God that it continues, that trend continues. And this is what we have been saying as the MDC Alliance when we are telling people to go and get vaccinated, when President Chamisa was telling people to social distance, wash hands, and everyone else within the MDC leadership, including government officials that have also been working hard to ensure that the numbers go down. We are grateful for that.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Yebo kambe zulukandaba leyizwa-ke indaba esiqalisile lapha sixoxa-ke ngendaba ezitshiyeneyo. Siyamuzwa-ke umnumzana Dzokora we-MDC Alliance uthi yena hayi bona bayakhuthaza kakhulu ukuthi abantu baqhelelane, bageze izandla lokunye okunjalo ukwenzela ukuthi bengabanjwa-ke ngumkhuhlane owelaphekayo. Yes, Mr. Dzokora, now can you tell us more about what your party thinks about how the government is handling the situation? Because we have had reviews coming from some countries that Zimbabwe is one of those countries that is doing a very good job when it comes to the coronavirus. Can you tell us what's the stance of your party as far as the virus is concerned?
You know, there's nothing that cannot be improved in the world. If we can do better, let's do better. That's what we always encourage the government to do. And we will also remember that the government put, its objectives out there. They say that they want to achieve, they want to make sure that at least 10 million people are vaccinated by the end of the year. And I think we just crossed the 2 million mark, which means we are still far away from our objectives as a country. And that we have to sit down as a country and see and analyze and evaluate why we didn't reach 10 million people at the marked time, or at the time that we thought would have reached 10 million people. Because if 5 people are still dying, those 5 people are not supposed to be dying. If we still have 100 people that are contracting COVID or that are suffering from COVID, it means we have not done what we are supposed to do. Let's achieve our objective. Let's get to the 10 million mark so that we are not caught unawares. Because we also have to be, careful in celebrating victories, before time. We did that in the first instance where we said we had kept the disease, and then the second wave came and it killed more Zimbabweans. So my plea to the Zimbabwean government is, let's not relax, let's not sit on our laurels, let's make sure that we reach the target that we set ourselves for as a country. 2 million and 10 million, there is a marked difference there. Why haven't we reached at least half that target?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. Regai tinzwe kuti vacharumbira vanoti vacharumbira.
Thank you very much. Yes, you can pose your questions. Thank you.
Yatanga tichikurukura navadzokora yenyaya yekuti uwandu hwevanhu vari kubatwa neCovid-19 nevari kushaya huri kudzikira. Zvii zvamungataura nekudzikira ikoko? Then tichazoisa mumwe mubvunzo pamusoro inenge yakanangana zvakare neCovid, tozopinda hedu kune Diaspora.
Ndinotenda vajonga nepanel yenyu navadzokora kupinda muchirongwa chino mangwanani ano. I think toda kutenda zvikuru government yedu yeZimbabwe inotungamirirwa naComrade Idi Mnangagwa neshamwari dzeZimbabwe, zvikuru sei the Chinese government. Toda kuvatenda nokuti assista kwavakaita throughout. Tinoziva even tikatarisa revolution yedu yechimurenga, shamwari dzedu dzakaita sana China vakanga vanesu kubva musi wokutanga kusvika musi weindependence. Havana kutisiya. Iko zvino tanga taakugwa hondo yeCovid-19. Tichiona isu kuti shamwari dzedu dzeChina varamba vachiti assista. Saka toda kuzvitenda izvozvo. Toda kutenda njere dzakapuwa Mwari, dzakapuwa Comrade Idi Mnangagwa naMwari, dzokuziva vanhu vokufamba navo, kuziva kuchengetedza ukama, nekuziva kuti vanhu chinhu chakakosha kuva nevanhu munyika, uye kutungamirira vanhu chinhu chakakosha. Comrade Idi Mnangagwa vakamira vakatraya everything possible, vakabayiwawo nhomba pachena, vanhu vose vachionekwa, zvose nomutevedzeri wavo vachiwenga nepresidium dzavo dzese. Vaiitira izvi kuti vana veZimbabwe vaone kuti nhomba haifisi. Bayiwai nhomba kuti tidzivirire chigwere cheCovid-19 chapararira nyika yese chichiuraya vanhu. Tiri kuona isi kuti pokutanga pakada first wave, yes, pakada maproblem nokuti nhomba dzedu dzakanga dzaprokiwa negovernment dzanga dzisati dzakwanisa kunge dzakawanda enough kuti vanhu vese vakwanise kubayiwa nhomba. Asi pakazopinda second wave, takaona isi kuti Comrade Mnangagwa vakatry by all means kusosa more through Vamtuli, Minister of Finance. Tikakwanisa kuwana nhomba dzokuti vanhu vese vanga vakubayiwa nhomba kwese nekumaruwa. Izvi ndizvo zvaita kuti chirwere cheCovid-19 chive controlled muZimbabwe. Saka izvozvo zvinotaridza utungamiriri hwemandorokwati hakuna zvechaungazoda pautungamiriri hwakaita sekwaComrade Idi Mnangagwa. Saka isiri kuti isu murambwi ngavarambe vachipuwa chance yekudevhelopa Zimbabwe, yekuprotekta vana veZimbabwe from zvirwere zvakaita seCovid-19 yakaterekesha ikaputsa dzimwe nyika madeveloped country. Asi isu seZimbabwe takasekwa nevamwe vakuru vakati kuAfrica kana ikauya ichapedza vanhu. Asi ndoda kutenda kuti kana mune nharirira yakaita saComrade Idi Mnangagwa munyika yeZimbabwe, aiwa hapana chinouya nokuti paCovid apa ndopa.
Thank you so much. Hatina hedu kuzonzwa mashoko enyu ekupedzisira ndizoti chichaitika vacharumbira, asi regai ndiende kuna vadzokora. Mr. Dzokora, they are well, health experts are not happy about the way people are following these WHO regulations at the moment. There seems to be complacence because they are saying some people are mostly in Harare are no longer wearing masks in the rural areas. We've seen pictures on social media of gatherings, videos of gatherings, people not wearing masks, people not social distancing, and also there's a decline in people who are going to get vaccinated. What's your take on that?
Hapana zvavangazviite vanhu, tinogona kuvashora zvedu, tinoziva kuti isusu hove inotanga kuora kumusoro ichidzika kuzasi. Munenge muchiona pavanenge vachitaura kuti vanhu vezanu pavanenge vachitaura kuti vanhu musaungane, ivo ndo pavanenge vachiunganidza vanhu vachipa vanhu chikafu vachiita misangano yavo. Vanhu veMDC vakangoda kana kuti vemamwe mapato vakangoda kunoungana chete vatosungwa batai uko batai murefu batai mupfupi, vanhu vakutovharirwa mumajeri. Takazviona zvichiitika kumasvingo kuti kwakaitika rally yeZANU-PF, vanhu vachitaura nenyaya dzekurejista kuvhota. Mapurisa akaenda akanosunga akanorova vakomana vekumasvingo veMDC Alliance, veZANU-PF vachiita rally yava havana kana kubatwa. Saka zvinhu izvozvo ndo zvinofanira kugadziriswa. Mutemo ngauve mutemo kune vanhu vese, kwete kuti ZANU-PF inorohwa nemutemo wayo wega wakanaka wavanenge vachirumbiridzana vachibatana zvakanaka. Kana zvaenda kumapata anopikisa, vanhu vobva vatanga kurakaswa, vanhu vobva vatanga kusungwa. Vanhu vese veZimbabwe vanenge vachiona kuti avo vanhu veZANU-PF vakaungana. Saka isusu toregerei kuungana kuti tirarame, nekuti vanhu vamuri kuona vanenge vachinoungana vanenge vari kumusika, vanenge vachitengesa zvinhu zvavo, vanhu vari kutsvaga kurarama. Asi ZANU-PF inoita basa rekuunganidza vanhu, ichivataurira zvekuvhota, ichivataurira zvekupa chikafu nekudii. Asi iri iyo iri kuisa mutemo yekuti vanhu ngavaregedze kuungana. Saka zvinhu izvo zvinofanira kuti zvigadziriswe. Ndotaurawo zvakare zvanga zvichitaurwa nevakuru vangu veZANU-PF. Unobva waona kupfupika kwepfungwa dzevanhu veZANU-PF kuti vanouya pachirongwa chakaita saichochi voombera maoko kutenda China yoga. Asi tese tinozviziva isusu, we know what has been happening. America has donated millions of dollars to the Zimbabwean government. The UK has done the same thing. The European Union has done the same thing. The United Nations has stood with Zimbabwe. Right now, Zimbabwe was just given $1 billion. That $1 billion did not come from China. We have never received anything of that magnitude from China. If we receive anything closer to that, it comes with stringent conditions that are selling out our country. They give us loans and they come up with very punitive interest rates. And besides that, they want land, just to be given land, just to be given resources that we have given you alone. Zimbabwe zvacho zvatinopiwa neChina hazvijairike. But you see someone coming here and thanking the Chinese only and forgetting the efforts of the international community, forgetting the friends of Zimbabwe that are here in America, the friends of Zimbabwe that are in Europe. It's absurd. And I'm sure if they could listen to this program and hear what a ZANU-PF official is doing, they'll be disgusted.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dzokora. Mr. Vusango, pindura itinzwa.
Sorry vajonga ndaita network error.
Okay.
Ndandapedza zvangu pa pombozo kutanga ndandapedza.
Vadzokora vanga vachitaura nyaya yekuti zvirongwa zvehurumende hazvisi kungoitwa neChina chete. Vanzwa imi muchingotenda China chete, kune vakawanda vari kubatsira muchirongwa chekurwisana neCovid-19.
Ndinotenda zvikuru nomubvunzo iwoyo. I think isu tinoziva kuti mushonga wenhomba yedu yokuzimbabwe unonzi Sinopharm kana kuti Covax unogadzirwa kuchina. Ndiwo mushonga wakabatsira vana vezimbabwe kuti manumbers edu adzike kusvika patava. Saka handizivo hangu kuti kana of course tinowana Zimbabwe yagara inowana assistance from the international world. We were not talking panapa tarisiri kutaura nyaya yezvese zvatinobatsirwa. Tanga tichitaura specifically chaita kuti manumbers edu adzike. Saka ndanichipa nhoroondo yokuti basa riri kuitwa nomukuru wenyika nekuri kubva zvibatsiriso zvedu zvakaita kuti senhomba. Nhomba yedu yotoshandisa kuti nyika yeZimbabwe inobva kuchina. Haibvi kuAmerica. Kana kuAmerica kuchibva zvimwe nedzimwe assistant. Tinotenda zvikuru vana America, vana Canada nedzimwe nyika dzese dzepasi pese dzinotibatsira. Asi ndangandida kuti nditende nyika yeChina nekushanda kwairi kuita naComrade Idi Mnangagwa nenyika yeZimbabwe pakudzivirira COVID-19.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Yes, Jonga. I don't know. I was expecting some guests. I don't know if they are still not available.
Yes, there is no other guest in the
okay.
During the show, yes.
Okay. Yeah. So, Mr. Tsogora, when it comes to the coronavirus, how would you rate the government's efforts?
The efforts of the government, are commendable in some ways. But if you have to give them a rating, they are still way below 50%, because we did not see the efforts that we saw in other countries like South Africa, where comprehensive platforms were put together that included all stakeholders, that included opposition parties, civic society, labor. You would see a government that is trying to do everything on its own. You'd see a government that is saying we can do this on our own. That compromises the Zimbabwean people. That delays the help that is supposed to be coming to the Zimbabwean people. And the rumeri mwechete arikombe churu. Ngatibatanei, ngatigarei pasi sevana veZimbabwe. Ndo zvakagara zvataurwa naPresident Chamisa pakatanga COVID chaiyo. Vaitaura kuti vaMnangagwa tiri kuti ngatigarei pasi tichande pamwe chete. Zvinoita kuSouth Africa kuti unoona ana Malema, anani vese vanenge vachiungana vopanana mazano. Uya auya nezano rake, uya auya nezano rake. Zvinoita kuti zvinhu zviendeke, zviite nyore. Saka tinokurudzira kuti kana paita dambudziko rakaita sere COVID-19, let's leave the politicking aside. Let's come together as children, as sons and daughters of Zimbabwe, and confront a pandemic and confront a disaster as Zimbabweans. That way, we'll minimize the number of deaths. You heard mukoma wangu pawanga vachitaura vachiti vaMnangagwa vakagona chaizvo, vaMnangagwa vakagona chaizvo, vanhu havana kufa zvakanyanya. But to us, any number of Zimbabweans that has died, that has perished, it's an important number. You can't come here and heap praises on someone when we have hundreds of people, hundreds of Zimbabweans and thousands of Zimbabweans that have perished through this pandemic. That could have been avoided. That definitely could have been avoided if the government had included all stakeholders. Even now, when they got the $1 billion, you would expect a reasonable government to sit down with everyone and say, this is the money that we have gotten for COVID support, because this money is not for anything else other than for COVID support. But we know ZANU-PF being ZANU-PF, that money is going to be diverted. That money is going to be taken to political campaigns. That money is going to be misused. 50% of it will end up in somebody's pockets in ZANU-PF. That's what we know. Even now, as we are speaking, can any Zimbabwean say there is now a difference between what is happening in our hospitals when we got the $1 billion or before we got that $1 billion? There is no difference, because when they get money from donors, 50% of that money never gets to the people. 50% of that money ends up with some, senior ZANU-PF officials through corrupt deals.
Okay, thank you so much. What's your response, Mr. Charumbir?
Thank you very much. Well, I think you all know that I'm sure I'm talking to the viewers, the listeners, the people who are listening, those that want Zimbabwe to prosper. They for surely know that our prosperity as Zimbabweans is being hounded by the MDC alliance. I'm sure you've heard the most if you're not the only billionaire we have in Zimbabwe, Steve Masiwa, his interview that has gone viral when he was asking the international community to remove sanctions from Zimbabwe. As he has joined the rest of Zimbabweans who have been seeing the damage of growth economically that is being caused by the shenanigans of the MDC alliance. So it's not new. We are not going to divert our attention and our to have our listeners listen to me respond to what Jogora is saying. Let me just say, President Idi Mnangagwa, we would give him 100% of how he has handled coronavirus in Africa and in the world. I'm sure you stated yourself that it has been announced in some forum and some statistics that Zimbabwe has done much better in how they handled coronavirus. It is him, the president of Zimbabwe, whose name is on that to bring life to Zimbabweans, defending the people, putting himself between coronavirus and the citizens of Zimbabwe. He took the beat, he took the blame and everything, but he stood fast and made sure that he would focus on developing Zimbabwe. On the other hand, he's building the nation brick by brick. On the other hand, he's making sure that the coronavirus vaccine is flocking into the country so that our people get vaccinated. So I would not want to divert my attention or the attention of my viewers for me to respond to what Jogora said about South Africa. South Africa, Malema himself that you have mentioned, how many times has he came up on the public and he's saying, I'm going to Zimbabwe to be vaccinated? How many times did the Zambian government ask Zimbabwe for help to be vaccinated? So are we going to come here and try to praise the MDC alliance? We are not going to praise a political party that is busy protesting. A group of protesters will remain a group of protesters, and the revolutionaries like Comrade Idi Mnangagwa and us ZANU-PF will continue to do the job that we were asked to do in the 1970s, to stand for the country and to make sure that we defend our country in every way possible. So we will continue to focus on our priorities, which is to make sure that Zimbabwe will be the breadbasket of Africa again, which it is today. And very soon we will see that Zimbabwe will turn around to be one of the middle-income economies in the world. Come 2030, we are not going to divert our attention. But I would like to say to tell the viewers that those that know the politics of Zimbabwe, we have got Poland. President Mnangagwa will not bring someone behind the door, through the back door, to politics of our country. You want to come and work with others, you are free to come and join Poland. If you don't want to join Poland, you are free to continue protesting on the streets while we are developing our nation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Charumbira. And now we are joined by another guest, Mr. Innocent Ndivali. He's the leader of an opposition party in Zimbabwe, EFF Zimbabwe. Welcome to the show, Mr. Ndivali.
Thank you very much, Chris. Thank you for being here, for having me.
Thank you so much. Now, Mr. Ndivali, we are talking COVID-19. We are trying to take stock of what has happened and what or how the response of the government has been. In your view, how would you rate the government's efforts to stem this virus?
Yeah, it is indeed a very sad situation in the world. The pandemic that has ravaged the world, including Africa, including Zimbabwe. But I think I must hasten to say that Zimbabwe has seemingly handled the issue of COVID rather encouraging and positively. In the sense that from the onset, I think the leadership under the president seem to have treated this issue as a priority, as a serious pandemic that was ravaging the country, including the region. So I think as EFF, as we have already always said that, look, we are an opposition in Zimbabwe, in Africa, and that kind of an opposition that does not just stand up and criticize for the sake of criticizing. We are like, I have often said, we are like a shop. We are like Spa, and ZANU-PF is like a Pick and Pay. So we have got almost similar products. For example, we talk of land, we talk of anti-sanctions, we talk of land expropriation without compensation. But it's about how do we sell those products in our shops. We are not in that brigade of saying ZANU-PF must go. We are saying we are an alternative. We are a competitor rather than an opponent. So therefore, we want to give it to the government to say that in terms of the COVID pandemic, the government has responded. Yes, they could do better, but I think we must give it to the president and his deputy president, Comrade Chiwengwa, to say that as a minister of health, he has handled this issue quite encouraging across the region. I think I talked to my colleagues in EFF across Africa. We've got over 22 EFF across Africa, and all the colleagues are very much in agreement that indeed Zimbabwe has handled the issue of COVID better than most of African leaders. Coming to the issue itself, of course, a lot of things must continue to be done. I think as citizens, we must continue to follow the guidelines. We should not politicize this issue. I think I have spoken against our comrade, the leader of the alliance, who was in Zambia, and I think spoken out of 10 when he said that the people of Zimbabwe are vaccinating themselves instead of actually that there is a program that is being put in place to prevent the loss of life. So let me finish by saying that I think the issue of COVID continue to ravage the world, continue to require us to continue to work in partnership with the government as opposition leaders to encourage the people to get vaccinated, to counter these unfounded issues that are out there. I think we must, as opposition leaders, learn to speak from empirical evidence. We cannot be speaking out of 10. We cannot speak as if we've got scientific evidence when we speak on various issues. Let us have evidence. Let us speak to issues that we know, that these are issues, these are the statistics, and so on. And let me finish by saying that I think a lot of people wanted to be vaccinated, but I think the government must put a program that can enable people to be reached in their own homes, such that certain doctors or certain nurses who can vaccinate the old, the disabled, can actually go into communities and vaccinate people. I was in Kai recently. I know there are quite a number of elderly people who would want to be vaccinated, but they cannot get to those centers that the vaccine is being made available.
Okay, thank you so much. Please do stay on the line.
Yes, Chris, we are joined, but I'm not aware of the name, so I don't want to mention the name that I'm seeing here on the platform. Maybe he can help us. Welcome to our show.
Myself.
Yes.
My name is Mkululi Ndavambi.
Mr. Ndavambi, thank you so much. Yes.
Very Zimbabwean, yes.
Okay, and you are from which country, in Zimbabwe or outside?
I live in Indianapolis, in the state of Indiana, in the United States.
In the USA. Thank you so much. Yes. We were discussing about the COVID-19 issues, people looking at how the government is faring in terms of vaccines, and also the people, whether they are following up on the WHO regulations, and the people were giving, some guests were giving their views on that. If you can chip in maybe just a minute, because we want to move to another hot issue, the diaspora issue. We saw MDC Alliance coming up with the Diaspora Affairs and Mobilization Department in the office of its president. And also at the same time, the government is crafting the Zimbabwe Diaspora Policy. So maybe a minute on the COVID-19 issue, then we'll move to the diaspora side. Chris.
Yes, Mr. Ndabambi, what's your take on from what you are hearing? What you are hearing from Zimbabwe about how the government has been faring as far as trying to, fight the coronavirus? What would be your take? Do you think it's doing a good job?
You know, to be hard on the government on Zimbabwe on the corona issue would be very unfair, because it's a pandemic the world over. Even the advanced economies are grappling with it. The government of Zimbabwe took the issue seriously and has done pretty much what it had at its disposal. I would concur with my fellow panel member from the EFF here that there's some, they brought attention to it, just like here, those of us in the diaspora have had access to information. And it was interesting, though, to hear Minister Opamuchunguri saying that China is responsible for this vaccine. But the government has done what it can do, and criticizing it when there's confusion the world over, I think would be misplaced.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so now we are turning to the issue of the diaspora, where the MDC Alliance has created a position that looks specifically at the diaspora. So we are going to ask Mr. Dzogora, the MDC Alliance. By the way, Mr. Ndabambi is a member of the Truckers Republic Party, MRP, Mat North. So to you, Mr. Dzogora, can you tell us more about this?
MRP, North American Charter.
Oh, yeah, sure. Okay. Yes, so can you tell us about this diaspora initiative? Because we have been hearing a lot about the diaspora, that they don't vote when they're in the diaspora, but they contribute more than $1 billion a year. And now we are heading towards the elections. What are the parties doing? We have you as MDC Alliance, Mr. Dzogora. Tell us what you are doing. We understand you have this new office. Can you give us more details about this? I think you are muted. You are muted.
It keeps.
I think there's a problem. I don't know if the
Okay, now I think now it's fine.
You got it. Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Let me greet my brother, Mr. Ndabambi. We have met at different platforms. Thank you very much. But let me just quickly remind my two brothers that criticism is healthy. Positive criticism is healthy. It makes us do better next time. Even the American government did very well. It spends billions of dollars to try and control the COVID-19, but it still faced a lot of criticism. Even President Trump was removed because of the way he handled the COVID-19. But that doesn't mean that he had not done well. He had done well. But in a democracy, criticism is permitted and should be encouraged. But anyway, going to the topic of the diaspora and the diaspora portfolio that the MDC has created, yes, we want to thank President Chamisa and the MDC leadership for being a leadership of the people that listens to people's concerns. We, the people in the diaspora, we lobbied for that position. The MDC Alliance, North America Province, UK and Ireland chapter, the South Africa and Southern Africa, Germany, Australia, Middle East, we all came together and lobbied the leadership to establish a diaspora desk that will coordinate activities between Zimbabweans in the diaspora and the people in Zimbabwe. This portfolio, if Leader Swatwaya was here, he would have told you that it's not an MDC position. It's a position that will serve all Zimbabweans that are in the diaspora, irregardless of their political affiliation. If it was for a political appointment, then we have our international organizing secretary who is in charge of all our structures in the diaspora. But this position is for all Zimbabweans, to link Zimbabweans with Zimbabweans in the diaspora. If there are any business opportunities that will come, the MDC Alliance has been controlling for the past 20 years all the local authorities in Zimbabwe. So there are, and there will always be investment opportunities in those local authorities. Those are, I think, some of the benchmark requirements that the minister or the person in charge of this portfolio will be looking at, trying to link Zimbabweans that are in the diaspora and opportunities that are in Zimbabwe.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's go to EFF Zimbabwe. Can you tell us what is your attitude towards the diaspora? Like I gave you the example of, people saying we are sending money, we are keeping the economy of the country on its feet, but we are not allowed to vote. So as EFF Zimbabwe, what is your attitude towards this kind of scenario?
Yes, our attitude towards the diaspora vote has always been that is revolutionary in nature, where we have said that the diaspora must actually be allowed or enabled to vote, given the amount of patriotism that they show towards their country through remittances, and also representing their country in various forums, in various organizations across the world. So we have said that the government must create a condition or an environment where the diaspora will be able to vote. We've even said as EFF that there must be a diaspora minister within the government. We must have a diaspora minister who will be voted by the very people in the diaspora and people in Zimbabwe in various constituencies. So we are very much in touch with the diaspora situation. We've got what we've called a diaspora coordinator, because diaspora, certain places, for example, South Africa, the UK, and America, we regard them as provincial structures of EFF. So we are very much working in line with other diaspora EFF chapters. For example, the diaspora EFF of Liberia, the diaspora EFF of EFF Malawi, of EFF Lesotho, EFF Swaziland, and even of EFF South Africa. So we are pushing very much to the government to say that we want the diaspora vote. But in order to engage the government, this is where the guys from the MDC Alliance are getting it wrong. Number one, most of the time they say that they are not in charge of local authorities. But now we hear this comrade here saying that they've been in charge of local authorities for the past number of years. But when we criticize them that they are failing to deliver, they are failing to fix sewer system that are exploding daily, they say we are not in charge. ZANU-PF is in charge. But you've heard now. Coming back to the issue, we are saying that if they wanted to discuss the issue of the diaspora vote, they must get themselves even into polarity and go and feed that directly to the governing party, to the president, to say that because we as EFF, as you are aware, we participated in the 2018 elections and we were under the Rainbow Coalition. So we have had a representation under Mai Mativenga from PDP. But we have said to the government that we want EFF to represent itself in Poland so that we can take the issue of land expropriation without compensation to that forum, so that we can talk about sanctions in that forum. Because we believe that ZANU-PF has been very much sloppy on the issue of sanctions. We believe that more must be done in order to get the sanction lifted. So the MDC chaps, they must come to Poland. They must go to Poland and help us talk about this diaspora vote, because I'm aware that Monzora is actually approaching Poland. I'm aware that we are doing the same because we want to have a conversation as a country. We are moving away from the politics of insulting each other, the politics of undermining each other. We want to work towards development, peace, and unity. The last thing that I want to put it very clear is that the EFF is very different in the sense that we do not see ZANU-PF as our enemy. We do not see the army, the police, the prison services, the CIOs as our enemy, because no country can function without those arms of government. But what we are saying is that let us change the politics of Zimbabwe. You've got EFF Zimbabwe that is very much radical in approach, but we speak the truth. When the government does good, we say good. So we are asking them to do good by providing or facilitating a diaspora vote. Some of us, we've been voting ever since we were allowed to vote. We've been traveling to Zimbabwe. We've been participating in the politics of Zimbabwe, even if we live in the diaspora. But I can tell you that if they provide an infrastructure, say in the embassies, to enable Zimbabweans to vote, a lot of Zimbabweans will participate. A lot of Zimbabweans will even part away with their monies to invest in a country that they are involved, that they are included, that they are seen as equal. Last thing, before I finish, I wanted to talk about this Ngapi Ndemkomana, because this is a platform that I can make this thing clear. Ngapi Ndemkomana, I don't know whether people are aware that this thing is very sexist. This thing is sending a very bad message to the girl child, that only Mkomana is allowed to pinda as a leader, as a president. So the sooner we look at this Ngapinde nonsense, we must say maybe with them, they could have as well say Ngapinde Chamisa, not Mkomana, because Mkomana is the opposite of Msikana. Kufana lokuti uti maengene umfana. Why don't you say maengene nkazana or maenge? Otherwise, you are being sexist, you are being chauvinist, you are being discriminatory on the basis of gender, and you are sending a bad message to the girl child. So that for me, if this continues, I will be asking ZEC in 2023 to stop this nonsense, because we cannot go to election with Ngapi Ndemkomana.
Okay, thank you so much.
I know Mr. Jokora is itching to respond, but before we go to Mr. Jokora, maybe Mr. Ndabambi, you can chip in.
I'm sure if it was a woman, and I'm sure that'd be okay too. Let's say for us at MRP, the issue of the diaspora vote is a very serious issue. We ask the government to demonstrate and show its goodwill and live up to its promises, and what the false hope that it gave us when President Mnangagwa came to India, to the United States in Washington D.C., I believe it was in 2019, and Uden Moyo of the MDC asked him, Wambuza himself, and President Mnangagwa Watiena was promised Wati, I assure you there will be a diaspora vote in 2023, and here we are. What we do not have is a willing government or a government of goodwill. Isn't his name things that are obvious, the way that we should be treated, and the rights and freedoms that we should be accorded. And here we are gathering to talk about things that should be rightfully ours. It's unfortunate. The remittances do a lot for the government. We support, we chip in where the government has failed in the economy to support our families. Even the social welfare structure cannot take care of the struggles of the average Zimbabwean. So the remittances do not buy our right, but they emphasize what a quintessential part of the structure we are. As a diaspora, we influence and do a lot for our folks in our country at home. It's very sad to hear the president pledging 140 million US dollars for the presidential vote. And yet you go, there's sewage running, there's potholes. There's been some encouraging pictures of this being done or fixed and this and that. But to think that 140 million will be spent on the presidential vote, it just adds to the things that confuse us as a people as to where the priorities of our government are.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ndawambi. Our time is running away. Maybe Mr. Busango, you can chip in. Unfortunately, we are not seeing you on video, but I understand you are listening to the show.
Yes. Thank you very much. I think I was in and out. Is it about the diaspora vote?
Yes, the diaspora policy, the MDC coming up with the Diaspora Affairs and Mobilization Ministry in the office of its president, and all what the diasporans are doing for the country.
Thank you very much. I think this all falls under the document that was crafted by the government in 2016, which was sent to all Zimbabweans in the diaspora through their embassies to relook at it and see if there's any adjustments that are needed or any contributions to the document, of which I think most embassies have contacted the people in that in those respective countries to do so. We did that here in Canada, and I've heard that in the US they've done it. I don't know who was there, but I know people did it. So basically, this diaspora policy is being run by the Foreign Affairs Ministry under Comrade Frederick Shava, who is a very experienced foreign affairs related minister. So I know we are in good hands as far as the diaspora issues are concerned. If everything is done accordingly, the government has acknowledged us in the diaspora in terms of remittances, in terms of investing in our country, in terms of development, in terms of even moving back home, because it was a migration of us, all of us from Zimbabwe to outside Zimbabwe. And there's always a possibility of migrating back to the country. And that's why this policy is there. It's there to cater for us. So basically, it is a wonderful policy, and everything that is in there now, the new policy, which is going to be edited, the policy, will actually look probably different from the one that was crafted in 2016, because a lot has happened through the years. And there's a lot of adjustments and a lot of contributions that we also introduced. As far as to respond to my brother there, I think from Indianapolis, who was talking about the diaspora vote, I think that one is a wish for all Zimbabweans in the diaspora. People need to vote from wherever they are. But when President Mnangagwa, and I was there, I was actually one of the facilitators at the meeting that he's talking about, that was done in New York. That was not in Washington, D.C., but it's in New York. The president does not go to Washington, D.C., he goes to New York, especially for the UN. And then when I asked the question, I was the moderator there, one of the moderators, and I gave him the mic myself to speak. And he spoke, and President said, let him continue to speak until he's done, and then I will respond. He's my son, and I want to hear from him. That's what I'm here for. And he said what he said. But when you look at implementing, it is not easy. You can't just implement such a policy just like that. There's a lot that needs to be done. And I think, yes, even me from ZANU-PF, I become impatient sometimes on that issue. But I cannot be abusing my government to give me what I want at my own time.
Yes,
plead with my government.
30 seconds. Nguva yakupera kwasara 3 minutes chete. 30 seconds.
Thank you very much. Yeah. So I think what I would do. Thank you so much, Mkanya. What I would appreciate is that let's continue doing these talks with the government as much as we can. What I would appreciate is, especially from the MDC Alliance, you cannot continue to fight while you're on the sidewalk. Come inside, let's sit down and talk. This will not get you anywhere. Otherwise, you'll be going through the sidewalk while we are in the building, marginalizing, developing, and implementing. I welcome you to the table, where others are, and we can build our country together. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Yes, I think Mr. Jokora, you are itching to respond to what these other gentlemen said. We have 2 minutes, so we give you a minute for that.
Yes, I don't know what the EFF stands for, and I know that there are many political parties in Zimbabwe, over 170, some pseudo-opposition parties, some also manufactured by ZANU-PF. So I don't know which side the EFF is coming from here, but it's just mind-boggling to see a fellow opposition leader coming in, attacking another opposition member. It's just boggling, You wonder which side they are on. He comes here and he says that he's running away, moving away from politics of hate and politics of insults. But he housed insults at the MDC Alliance. He calls something that was created by a Zimbabwean a musician who is not even MDC. He calls it nonsensical. I don't understand. The young man who created that song, Ngapinde Mkomana, is not even MDC. But we as the MDC Alliance, we welcome that. There's nothing sexist about it. If our candidate was Vice President Karenyi, would have been obviously saying, Ngapinde Hagenskana. Saka, that campaign is going to be there until 2023. Those who are wishing it away, ZANU-PF is wishing it away, and I'm surprised that EFF is also wishing that away.
Thank you
so
much.
Going away. And then finally, on the diaspora vote, as the MDC Alliance, will continue to stand with the people of Zimbabwe because we are a part of the people of Zimbabwe.
Thank you.
We'll continue to fight for the diaspora vote, as you saw from our demonstration and the court cases that we'll be launching, and all the other ways of fighting for that diaspora vote. We need the diaspora vote.
Chris, ndofunga ndivali vada kupindura 30 seconds vandivali nguva dzadyana.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate that MDC will actually say that EFF Zimbabwe is unknown. EFF Zimbabwe has been there since 2016. We participated in the election in 2018 because they believe that they are.
No, I said I don't know what you stand for.
You will not know because you are not a member of EFF and you do not have a political party as we speak. So you cannot even speak because now you've got MDC Alliance, you've got MDCT. We do not know whether you're a political party yourself or not. So don't speak as if you're a political party. EFF is more of a political party than MDC Alliance. Let's make this clear. Number two, MDC Alliance regarding being up in the command. Remember that you are coming from a point where you almost bent Togozani Coupe in a heart, a female. And now you are coming with Ngap in the command. Mix the two and see how it compares.
Thank you
You
so
can
much.
wish it away, but it's not going to go away.
Time
It's not
here,
664.
Chris. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I think we'll continue this debate next week on Wednesday. Let's make a date.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, Chonga?
Yes, Chris, as you always say, we do not have extra time, but I wish we were in the CAF Champions League or something like that, where we have had extra time. Asi zvisinei kwezuva ranhasi tinotenda vadare vedu vatanga tiinavo vandivali ve-EFF Zimbabwe, vandavambi we-MRP Party North America Charter, navadzokora ve-MDC Alliance pamwe chete nava charumbira bvusango beZANU-PF North America. Ini Jonga Kandemiri, totimurari zvakanaka vateereri. Thank you.
And I'm Chris Gande. Good night, Lilale.